What's going on? My name is Scott Herndon.
My name is Michaela.
And we're with City Welding Academy. Today's video is going to be about running simple stringers on plate. Alright, so before we get into the hands-on, let's talk about three main things that you need to pay attention to. Okay? So this process is shielded metal arc welding. Where do we get the shield from? So the shield is actually this coating that's around the rod. It's flux. The sole purpose of this flux is to remove all contamination outside of that weld puddle, either from the base metal or the outside atmosphere. Okay, so this creates an atmosphere around that arc and stabilizes it, makes sure no contamination, oxidation happens to that weld while you're actually doing the welding process. All right, so in order to do that, we got to have a good, nice, tight arc length. Okay, by having a good, nice, tight arc length, like I just mentioned, that's what it's going to prevent. It's going to prevent porosity. It might prevent spatter. It's going to prevent maybe undercut. So it's really going to knock out any kind of contaminations outside of that weld zone. So what's the second thing we need to talk about, Michaela?
We need to talk about our rod angle.
Rod angle. So I'm going to show you a little sample before we get into it. A lot of individuals that get into welding, they automatically think when you're running stick rod, you want to go ahead and pull that puddle. Well, that's not necessarily the case. Why? Because if we take a look right here on the table, we got point A to point B. I'm right-handed, so you should be welding left to right, okay? Your rod angle is automatically at a natural angle that you need to be. That's why you want to weld the opposite way from whatever hand you are, okay? So if we take a look at our example here, we are going from point A to point B. Am I welding by pulling the puddle, or am I just pushing down on my hand?
You just push down.
Right? So this actually is going to help with that arc length, okay? So this is why it's very important to pay attention to rod angle, because if this goes out of whack, it's already going to affect our arc length. You do not want to see a fireball coming out of this rod. If you see a fireball, then that means you are not pushing down. You might be pulling that puddle. Therefore, now you're going to start causing discontinuities from your arc length. Okay? So what's the third thing we need to talk about?
We need to talk about your body positioning.
Body positioning. All ABC, always be comfortable. You want to make sure you are comfortable from the beginning of that weld. Why? Because if you're trying to transition, especially on pipe, you know how it comes quick when you're trying to, transition into that, bottom corner or that top corner. And if your body positioning is off right from the beginning, well, your weld is going to show. So you always want to make sure you have some point, 3 points of contact. Either you're leaning up on something, 2 legs and a hand, you're crouched around it or whatnot. So you want to make sure you're comfortable from the beginning. So I think it's about time we go ahead and throw our hood on and get ready to do some hands-on. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Let's do it. So welcome everybody under the hood. Alright, so keep that in mind as Michaela's starting to run her stringers here. You can see the landmarks around my puddle. I can see the crown of that previous stringer. Okay, Michaela's keeping her welding rod on the edge of that previous stringer. Therefore, her puddle is 50% over that previous and 50% on that base metal. What else am I looking at? I'm looking at that freeze line, which is the back side of the puddle where the liquid is now solidifying and turning to a solid. That's going to tell me if I need to slow down or speed up, how tall the crown of my stringer is going to be. So this is an awesome exercise to start out with, to learn the muscle memory, to get comfortable with the body positioning, and to pay attention to your arc length. So as Michaela is starting to chip away her slag, if you got good amperage, good arc length, and good travel speed, your slag will chip off by itself. You want to be careful with this. This is hot. You can either burn somebody else or burn yourself.
So as you can see right here, everything was in sequence and it just tripped off nice and clean.
All right, so let's recap. So what are some of the things we learned?
Your arc length is really important. You gotta make sure that you keep it tight and stay in your puddle. Your rod angle is also important. If you're just running stringers on flat plate, for the most part, you can just push down. And then your body positioning, you need to be comfortable. If you're not comfortable, that weld isn't gonna turn out good at all.
So you always want to make sure you're comfortable from the beginning. That's where it starts at. So I hope this video helps somebody that's getting into the welding industry or that's already in the beginning of their career in the welding industry, just running a simple stringer. And you know, this is where it's gonna start at, building those muscle memories, those habits of tight arc length, rod angle, and body positioning. Okay, so once again, I'm Scott Herndon.
I'm Michaela.
We're with City Welding Academy. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it, we would appreciate it. If there's something that you might want to see, put it down bottom. We'll make sure we get a video out there for you. And if you want to give us a call, 915-888-6082. We have a start date here at Sun City every first and third Monday of the month. All right? So once again, I don't got nothing. You?
No.
Sweet. Until then, we'll see you under the hood.